Now, in all fairness, if I'm buck naked and I have a machete in my hand and somebody's trying to take a picture of me, I'm probably going to throw the machete too.
Well, that's true. It could be, get away, you perv!
Pistols, prayer, and potluck. This is Armed Lutheran Radio.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Armed Lutheran Radio, a show about guns, hunting, competitive shooting, the natural right of self-defense, and what God's Word says about the issues surrounding gun rights and gun ownership. I'm your host, Lloyd Bailey. This is episode number 326, and joining us again, the pistol-packing padre from the land of 10,000 lakes, Pastor John Bennett. Pastor, welcome back.
Thank you. It seems like it's been too long since we've done this.
It has. We may have to try to do this again next week if we can put this together. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. We've got a fun show in store for you, not just because the pastor is with us, but because the content is going to be hilarious. I'll leave it at that, and I will tell you exactly what we're doing here in a moment. But first, I want to thank the people who make this show possible, the members of the Reformation Gun Club. Today, I want to thank Melvin from Holt, Missouri, Guillaume from Osage Beach, Missouri. I always start to mispronounce his name. Donnie from White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Stephen from New Bern, North Carolina. Another Steve from Grovetown, Georgia. Daniel from Chehalis, Washington. Greg from Holly, Michigan. Robert from Monroe, Georgia. The infamous Johnny B. And Scott. Want to thank everyone, all of our Reformation Gun Club members for making this possible. Fans of the show who put their money where their mouth is. They enjoy the show, they value the content, and they support it with their yearly and monthly contributions. Folks, if you would like to help keep this show going, if you would like to get access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, all the great benefits that come along with membership, go and check it out at armedlutheran.us/gun club. Check out all of the benefits, all the membership levels, and come and join us. I think we're going to do do an online hangout here in a couple of weeks before the end of the month. So if you join now, you'll be just in time for the August hangout, which is always fun. All right, here we go. So, quick reminder, the new book coming in December. It's available for pre-order now, Duty to Defend, the second edition, with 50% more content. It's got 12 new articles from 11 pastors, 7 new contributors, all kinds of new features and goodies, and it will be available in December. And I've just got a few more articles to edit that I haven't received yet. Still got time to finish all the editing because I've got everything else edited, which is good.
Still have me to submit my article. My chapter. It's coming, I promise.
All righty, good. And so it'll be available in time for Christmas gift giving in December. So check that out at the website at armedlutheran.us/duty. If you have not bought the first edition, do not go and buy. I can't believe I'm telling people not to buy my book. I'd be great if you want to buy it, but the second edition is coming in December. If you can keep your powder dry until then, you will be. It's well worth the wait. Trust me, it's going to be awesome. Okay.
Well, and if you really got to have it now,
yeah, it's true.
The Kindle version is only a few bucks.
That's true. The Kindle version is inexpensive, and for everything that you get, the print version is not expensive either. It's can't remember how many pastors we have. It's a fantastic collection of articles from pastors like our own Pastor John Bennett, who is contributing a second article, a new article for the new book. So Looking forward to getting that wrapped up. Go check it out and pre-order your copy today. All right. This is something we have not done in a while. We are preaching to Florida Man today.
Boy.
I thought we needed something uplifting and fun, especially with all the terribleness with the Biden administration and raids on Trump headquarters and all this stuff. So
you hadn't told me that's what we're doing today.
I thought I would surprise you with something fun. I
shouldn't have left the bottle of the Old Smoky Habanero Mango whiskey in the refrigerator. I should have put it right here on my desk because that will help me understand Florida Man a little bit better.
Well, I had in mind to do something else this week, and I thought, no, this is just a little too serious. Let's have a little fun this week. So I threw this together today, and I thought this will be great. So
excellent.
For those of you who don't know what the heck we're talking about, basically what we do, and we've done this in previous episodes, so once you're finished listening to this, if you have not heard the other ones, go to the website and search for Florida Man and listen to all the episodes about Florida Man. You will love it. Basically what we do is we take news stories featuring that wonderful gift that keeps on giving, Florida Man. We see what he's been up to, and we see what life and self-defense and legal lessons we might learn from his latest adventures. And so that's what we're doing today. And our first story is, and all of these are from this month, so he has been very busy in August of 2022. This one from August 3rd comes from Lehigh Acres, about 140 miles southeast of Tampa. And this caught my eye because of a comedy skit. And this was really why I decided, when I saw this story, I was like, we've got to do Florida Man this week. One of my favorite comedians is the late, great Tim Wilson of Chuck E. Cheese Hell fame. In one of his routines back in the 90s, he jokes about how Democrats are always complaining about guns, but anything could be used for a weapon, and he specifically mentions a weed eater. And sure enough, 20 years later, it finally happened. And of course, it happened in Florida. A Florida landscaper is accused of engaging in a, quote, weed whacker attack after using one of the dangerous power tools on another man's face.
Oh.
The victim, who was injured, told investigators the attack occurred after he and the 30-year-old suspect got into a dispute, quote, over money for residential landscaping services, according to the Lee County Sheriff's office. The disgruntled landscaper, quote, walked back to his work truck, grabbed his gas-powered weed whacker, the sheriff's office reports. He started the weed whacker and chased the victim and struck him in the face, causing injuries, end quote.
Oh. Now, as I'm hearing this, I'm thinking of earlier today, I did a little weed whacking myself with the gas-powered weed whacker. And I use this weed whacker line that's kind of like serrated. It can do some wicked damage.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh.
Take one of those things and extend the line, far enough for that little, the ones that have the bell cover at the bottom to keep the grass from flying back on you.
Yeah.
They've got that little blade at the end so that
yep.
if you get it too long, it cuts it off. If you're standing in the wrong place, that thing comes flying off at you at like 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. I think mine's about 14 inches. And, that's wicked.
I've gotten more bloody legs from pieces of weed whacker string flying at me than anything else. doing yard work.
Now, I will say points to the gardener for creativity.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, the landscaper fled the scene and remained on the run for nearly 2 weeks. He just got caught this week.
Wow.
He faces charges of aggravated battery involving use of a deadly weapon, according to jail records. Bond set at $10,000. Details of the victim's injuries were not released. Investigators say the landscaper is a convicted felon with prior charges of robbery, arson, and child abuse.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and then of course, the article finishes, and this is very helpful, I thought. It goes on to explain what a weed whacker is, I guess, for the, for the wine and cheese folks who don't know. Oh, I say.
For the ones who complain every time they hear a leaf blower.
I say, old chap, what is this weed whacker? It sounds dreadful.
They probably think, a weed whacker is, if they ever watch the movie Sling Blade, they think, yeah.
Yep. Well, so there are two lessons, I think, here, and if you can find a third, let me know. But I think you hit on one of them, which is that anything can be used as a weapon if you need it, right? So
yes.
We've talked about this before. If your life is in danger and you don't have a gun, then be creative, right? Be resourceful.
Grab a weed whacker if you got one available.
If you got to grab the weed whacker, go for it. On the other hand, it's not exactly the advice I would give you if you're intending on assaulting someone. Don't take that advice in that case. If you're in a self-defense situation, this is what... Now, the second, I think, point would be, or lesson, is to always be armed.
Yes.
Especially if you're going to be getting into a heated dispute with someone over money with a convicted felon.
Right.
And
this also might be the time where you hire someone to work for you. Maybe it's not a terrible idea to do a background check on them.
And that's the thing. I was thinking about this too. And don't, for our listeners, please don't take this the wrong way, but landscape companies typically are not exactly discriminating when it comes to hiring people. I think we can accept that as a fact, that it's a job that not uncommon for, let's say, illegal immigrants or convicted criminals to work in this field. I'm not saying that every guy named Jose who is mowing your yard is a convict or an illegal alien. So not to paint with too broad a brush, let's just take the ethnicity thing out of the equation. If you need somebody to push a mower or dig a hole or run a weed whacker, you're not necessarily checking references, right?
Right.
I mean, most these companies are just looking for muscular labor. They don't really care whether or not you graduated high school.
But I would say you are better off calling 12-year-old Timmy down the road, because chances are he's not a convicted felon.
Exactly. And if he comes at you with a weed whacker, you're more likely to be able to overpower him. So yes, that's the third thing. Hire local. Get some kid in your neighborhood to do it for you instead of hiring who knows.
Yeah, and that's how I made my money when I was a teenager.
Yeah. And if you're gonna, I guess the other thing would be if you're going to get into a discussion with the guy who mows your yard over money, over the quality of work or whatever, you need to do it diplomatically. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get upset over being overcharged or the quality of the work, maybe take a step back, take a deep breath, and approach the guy calmly instead of in a way that might provoke him to hit you with a weed whacker.
Right. Or, it's just grass. You can always just, hire somebody else.
Exactly. And you should probably stay strapped in case things get tense, So
Yes.
in case he comes at you with a weed whacker, you're prepared to defend yourself.
Now, usually when I leave the house and go somewhere, I'm carrying.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just walking around my yard, I'm usually not. If I lived in Florida, though, I probably always would.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad idea. That's probably the fifth point. If you live in Florida, yeah, exactly.
Stay strapped and keep your head on a swivel.
That's right. All right, looks like landscapers and unpredictable people figure prominently in this week's episode, so keep that in mind. This next story... And this next story ties in with our red flag show a few weeks ago. This was from August 6th in Clearwater, Florida. Florida man threatened landscaper with assault rifle in parking dispute, police say.
Ooh.
Yes. Police...
In a parking dispute?
A parking dispute. This infuriates me to no end, and you'll hear why in just a minute. Police...
No way, Jose, you're not parking there.
Oh my gosh. And yeah. Police arrested a West Central Florida man accused of threatening a landscaper and his daughter with an assault rifle. Yeah, and there's video of it. He's got an AR-15 style rifle over a parking dispute. According to a Facebook post by the Clearwater Police Department, David Berry, age 44, so he's in his 40s, he should know better. He got into an argument with the two over a parking dispute on the street in front of Berry's home. Part of the confrontation was captured on video. Quote, "If the suspect had a problem with how someone was parking, he should have called the police and let us handle it," said Clearwater Police Chief Dan Slaughter. "You don't arm yourself with a rifle and threaten someone over something so trivial." So that's the first lesson. Officials charged Berry with aggravated assault, a third-degree felony. Now get this. This is how it ties in with the red flag show. His weapons had been seized by Clearwater Police and Pinellas County Sheriff's Office in accordance with a risk protection order just last month.
I guess they didn't take all of them.
Apparently not.
Either that or they didn't report this to the NICS system, and somehow he just happened to pass a background check to get another one.
Exactly. So it could very easily be that he had one stashed somewhere, as a backup, and they didn't get it, or they didn't search thoroughly enough. He could have gotten one from a friend. He could have gone and bought one because they didn't report it to NICS. Like
maybe it was a ghost gun.
Oh my goodness. I mean, if it was only last month, and we know the crap with it. See, this is the problem, and you and I have talked about this many times. The problem with the idea of expanding the NICS background check system when a lot of the data in it is garbage already. There's no way that if they just seized his firearms last month, there's no freaking way that it updated in the system that quickly.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
So this guy's clearly a nut. He's already got a red flag protection order, which resulted in it says his weapons, obviously not all of them, or possibly not all of them, but somehow he still has a gun. And somehow he's still free to threaten people, which is the other point you and I were talking about on the red flag law show. The big problem that you and I kept coming back to in that show was the fact that, all right, you're going to take the guy's guns, but because he's too dangerous to have them, but you're going to leave him free.
Yeah. What's to stop him from renting a Ryder truck and plowing through a crowd of pedestrians?
Right. Or having a backup gun somewhere, or getting a gun from a friend or whatever, and deciding to vent his anger on, the landscaper and his daughter. So, and And the reason this story, the biggest reason this story makes me mad is because this is the guy who gives the rest of us a bad name.
Yes.
Right?
There is another angle to this, too.
Mm-hmm.
Clearwater, Florida is known for something very specific. It has the largest concentration of Scientologists living in its city limits. So
we could
I
be
wonder
dealing
if
with
this
a
guy is
crazy
a
cult member.
Scientologist. Yes. Yes. His level of thetans must have gotten a little too high, and he hasn't had his, most recent reading, and so he was a little bit, out of whack psychologically.
He's definitely out of whack.
Yes.
For whatever reason. Oh
yes. I think this guy needs
that.
a weed whacker to the face.
Yeah, I think that should be his sentence. To just take him around back and just beat him around the head and neck with a weed whacker for the damage that he does to all the rest of us in the gun rights movement, right?
Yes.
Because you see his picture plastered on news stories about this is the problem with people with guns. He is the face, or he is one of the faces that people see. That picture of him standing in his driveway, pointing angrily at the landscaper with the rifle in his hand. That's the picture that the left sees when they think of gun owners, unfortunately.
Right.
All right. And this last one is not a landscaper, but it does involve a landscaping tool. And it is quintessential Florida man. I mean, this is...
Okay, before you tell me the details, how does this compare to naked dude hiding in a chicken coop?
Well, there's nakedness.
Oh, no. Oh, where's that bottle of whiskey? I got to make sense of this.
All right, so here's the headline. This is from August 9th in DeLand, Florida. Naked Florida man picking berries, flips out, throws machete at surveyor, demands victim's clothes.
Oh my gosh.
A naked Florida man who threw a machete at a surveyor and tried to rob him of his clothes was taken into custody at a gas station on Monday. This would have been, I guess, August 9th or 8th or 10th.
The poor people who went to the gas station that day.
Oh my gosh, you got a lot more than lottery tickets that day. After approaching several passing vehicles, deputies responded to an area in DeLand, Florida, across from the Volusia County Fairgrounds shortly before 10 a.m. So this guy was at it early. Monday, after the surveyor reported a naked man approaching him while carrying a large machete-style knife. The victim said that the suspect was picking palmetto berries in the woods. Okay, so he observed him naked in the woods, picking berries, and still stood around there and waited for this to happen.
Maybe he was just so thrilled to see someone so in touch with nature.
Or just enamored with his form. I don't know. Adonis. Oh my goodness. So eventually he came running out of the brush, brandishing the machete and demanding the man's clothes, wallet, and phone. As the victim began to comply with the demands, the suspect hurled the machete at him along with a handful of berries. Assault with a deadly berry. The handle of the machete bounced off the victim's chest, and he wasn't injured. Now, you know how in Hollywood, every single movie where there's the guy throws a knife at the bad guy or a sword or whatever, it always goes in, right?
Yes.
Clearly, that's Hollywood BS.
No, it's just because the machete isn't properly balanced.
Good point. Okay, could be that too, yes. Perhaps he was winded from his prancing about in the woods naked with the berries and just hadn't, got the right form down.
Excuse me, sorry. Oh.
The suspect took off into the brush and got into a white Dodge Challenger. Was the Challenger in the brush? I just realized that. What? Did he park in the woods?
He had to have gotten there somehow, and I mean...
I guess that's the best way. I mean...
Unless he lives in the woods.
That's possible, too. I mean, it would be the most convenient way if you're going to go au naturel and pick berries.
Yes.
You don't want to park in the parking lot at the fairgrounds and have to, traipse across the fairground stark naked. You might want to park in the woods instead. That's probably
you know
better.
What? I think I know the guy's motivation. So palmetto berries are consumed for prostate health, which also has to do in some ways with, like erectile dysfunction. So perhaps he was trying to get ready for his woman, and he just had to have these palmetto berries, and this guy was getting in the way. It was all for love.
Very possible.
That's the honest and only plausible explanation that I can find for him being buck naked picking palmetto berries.
Your father was a hamster and your mother smelt of palmetto berries. Okay, here's this next sentence gets kind of weird. As if the first part wasn't. Meanwhile, a responding deputy recognized that the circumstances and the suspect's description were similar to an August 2021 call. What? This has happened a year ago? Exactly a year ago.
I've seen that naked man before.
This sounds vaguely familiar. Involving a man named Brandon Wright running around naked in the same area. Minutes later, Wright's vehicle passed a license plate reader in DeLand, and soon after that it was reported that a naked man was outside a gas station at South Spring Garden Avenue in DeLand. Air One, so there are pictures from Air One, the helicopter that tracked this guy down. Of course, it's blurred. Air One spotted Wright from overhead and gave updates on his location until DeLand police officers arrived on the scene. Wright laid down on the parking lot and for the officers and was taken into custody without incident. Wright, aged 34, was charged with attempted robbery with a deadly weapon, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and was transported to the Volusia County Branch Jail, where he was in custody without bond as of this writing. His prior convictions include kidnapping and false imprisonment in 2009, possession of cocaine in 2013 and again in 2018, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and battery on a law enforcement officer in 2018, and then resisting an officer without violence last year. So I'm wondering if that last one was this deputy that recognized, oh, hey, I've been through this before. Great, naked dude. I get to wrestle with the naked dude.
Oh, man.
Now, first thing that came to mind here, well, not necessarily the first thing. First serious thing, I guess. For all of those who think that police are just going around killing black folks willy-nilly, I present to you Brandon Wright, currently residing in the Volusia County Jail. Brandon Wright is black, and despite his long history, which includes twice resisting arrest and both times naked...
As you mentioned this, out of curiosity, I just did a search and a YouTube video popped up of the helicopter footage.
God.
This is a big, burly dude.
He's a big dude.
And in the video, he just drops down and starts doing push-ups. That's the strangest freaking thing I've ever seen. You're naked. You're strolling through Florida. You just got done picking berries and pissing off some guy by throwing a machete at him. And you just stop to randomly do push-ups.
He threw the machete at him after he was half naked trying to comply with you. So, Mr. Wright debunks a couple of myths here, while totally nude, by the way. The first being the police just killing black folks all the time. The other, the idea that universal background checks are going to keep guns out of the hands of bad people, because, again, I present Brandon Wright in all of his naked glory, who was in 2018 convicted as a felon in possession of a firearm. So he's done this before. And finally, you remember that line earlier? I already mentioned the previous naked assault on a law enforcement officer. What is it about August and this part of Florida that, well, maybe it's the prostate thing, like you were saying.
Well, now that you mention it, Florida, August, it's hot. I think he just pleads that he was delirious because of dehydration.
That could be. And are there any Scientologists in that area too? I mean, is the land full of naked Scientologists? Perhaps?
Oh, man. Perhaps just one. Well, I know why they didn't shoot him. Because it was obvious that he wasn't armed.
Right. He'd already disposed of his weapons. That's right. Let's look at...
unless you've watched Full Metal Jacket, this is my rifle, this is my gun, this one's for shooting, this one's for fun.
God help me if he did that. I'd be like, all right, that's
well,
it.
Fortunately, it's blurred, so we'll never know.
That's right. I'm out of here. We'll have to look at the police report, I guess. Now, let's look at it from the poor surveyor's. What can we learn from his experience? He was assaulted with a machete, a handful of berries, and the sight of Mr. Wright's twig and berries. And I mean, you have to get pretty close to somebody to throw berries and a machete at them and hit them, right? I mean, that's not exactly a long-range weapon.
Right. Yeah. If a naked man is coming at me, whether or not he has a machete, I'm going in the opposite direction as fast as I can.
No matter the state of the machete or the berries, I am going the other way. Yes. Now, so I think it's safe to assume here that he allowed this guy to get a little too close for comfort. He talked about seeing him picking berries in the woods. So he might have thought, naked guy, he's probably harmless. Maybe he's just some homeless guy. But here comes that unpredictable part, right? I mean, this is a thread that ties all three of these stories together. People are unpredictable, right? You've got the lawn care guy who goes to his truck and assaults his employer with a weed whacker. Then you got the crazy guy, the crazy Scientology guy, we suspect, who, comes out and gets in a dispute over parking with a rifle. Now you've got some naked guy in the woods. It's probably safe to assume that he's not mentally all there. Maybe not the safest person to be in close proximity to. So if you see a big black guy in the woods, buck naked, with a machete and a handful of berries, his or stuff that he's picked, you might want to move to maintain some distance. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So,
I mean, it is Florida. Maybe the victim was aroused?
It's possible. He could have been.
That's the only explanation I can find for sticking around to watch the naked dude picking berries.
That's the direction I would have gone if this was like, suburban San Francisco or
Yes.
Asheville, North Carolina, somewhere like this. I don't know anything about DeLand, Florida, so I didn't go there, but that's a possibility. And
Remotely.
remote possibility. And as Seinfeld said, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, there is something wrong with that.
It's either that or just pure shock. The man was in shock and couldn't move.
That's very possible. It could be like your mind can't really process what you're seeing, right?
Yeah.
Am I really looking at, is that a naked guy picking berries? And you're just like, it's sort of like the train wreck you can't stop watching, maybe, where you just wonder what he's going to do next. Oh, God, he's going to charge at me with a machete.
It's like, so growing up in the Los Angeles area, by the time I moved out of that hellhole, they actually had a service where you can get text alerts on your phone when there was a high pursuit police chase going on, so you can turn on your television and watch it.
Holy cow.
It's kind of like that. That was a big thing. There was one police chase where there was some nut on a motorcycle doing like 90 miles an hour in a residential area, and we're watching this on the TV, and holy crap, that guy's on the next block over. So,
well, bring that show to Florida, and you can watch the naked black dude running from police.
Instead, just have a text message alert that naked black dude picking berries. Check out Channel 9 to see what's happening.
Film at 11. That's right.
Oh my gosh. But there is that peculiar character of human nature where you get that curiosity where you're just like, what the hell am I watching?
Right. Am I really seeing this? Right.
Yes.
So you just don't know
eat
what
like
to do.
Bad gas station sushi or something? Am I just, is this just in my mind?
Right. Maybe shouldn't have had 2 martinis for lunch. So the point, I guess, here is you just don't know what naked people with machetes will do. I mean, it's safe to assume that they're at best unpredictable. So maybe you should, instead of staring, and this can apply not just to naked guys in the wood, but if you see something that is just weird, just off, maybe, and see, that's the other thing. I wonder, we've got this culture now that just wants to stop and film everything, get the phone out and take pictures. Even when horrible things are happening, we've seen those stories like where there's just a vicious crime being committed and people, instead of helping, will stand there and film.
Yeah. The worst example I can think of is there was a case on like a New York City subway where a woman was getting raped by a homeless guy on the subway.
Yep.
And all people would do was just film it happening instead of actually stop this from happening.
Yep. And so our culture has created this, I guess, this incentive for people, when you see something weird, instead of thinking of your own safety or the safety of others, you're thinking, wow, I got to get a picture of this.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he could have been thinking, oh, well, there's this, holy cow, there's this crazy naked dude out here picking berries. I got to get a picture of this. My friends will never believe, oh, shit, he's chasing me.
Yeah. Now, in all fairness, if I'm buck naked and I have a machete in my hand and somebody's trying to take a picture of me, I'm probably going to throw the machete too.
Well, that's true. It could be, get away, you perv.
Now, you're never going to find me naked with a machete in my hand. I can't think
At least
of
not out
any
in the
logical
woods.
reason for that. Yes. Well, we don't have palmetto berries around here in Minnesota, so I think I'm in the clear.
There are much simpler ways to treat your prostate problem. Seriously.
You could just order the stuff on Amazon and no one will ever know.
Maybe there's a cult or something that says, by the light of the moon. Well, it wasn't the light of the moon. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. What the heck? Okay.
But there was a full moon out.
We need... It definitely was. There definitely was. So, first thing is you definitely want to, when you see something that's not right, you don't want to just stand there, watching. You probably want to get as far away from it as possible instead of standing there and just waiting for something unpredictable to happen. The other lesson I think here is that compliance is not a guarantee of safety.
Yeah.
Right? You hear all these people who say that you don't need a gun if you're just getting robbed because, the better thing to do is just to give them what they want and they'll go away. But that's not always the case. Even after attempting to strip down and comply with this guy, the guy still threw a machete at him. He's very lucky, really, because he could have been good with knives for all we know. He could have been well practiced at throwing sharp objects and sticking them in stuff. And he could have very easily, or just out of luck, could have killed this guy, stuck the machete in him instead of the handle hitting him. So
very true.
Now the other, and this I guess applies in all of these, this lesson kind of applies throughout all of these stories, is the idea that maybe you ought to be carrying everywhere. And maybe his job didn't permit him to do it as a surveyor. I don't know, working for, I guess, a construction company or for the state perhaps, maybe he couldn't carry, but you probably want to stay strapped because, if you can, because I imagine if the naked guy with machete comes running at you out of the woods and you draw a firearm, don't even have to point it at him. I suspect he doesn't come any further and heads off in a different direction. So, stay strapped and keep your distance from strange naked men with machetes. That's the lesson here, I guess. And we're not even going to try to preach to these people. It's just they're lost. They need a padded cell. Yes.
Yeah. After the padded cell has done its work and they've, are more docile, perhaps then you can preach to them. But
yeah,
at this moment, they're just not in the right place mentally to hear a law gospel sermon.
No, probably not. I can just
maybe lobotomy would do some good, but
get the pastor out here. We got a naked guy. We need some law and gospel.
Well, in Matthew's gospel, Jesus said that when you saw me naked, you clothed me. So,
good. Yeah.
Give the man some clothing.
Yeah, don't just throw the handcuffs on him. Come on. Yeah. Give him a little dignity.
Yeah,
cover him up.
Be the kind of person that says, "Well, I give the shirt off my back."
Yeah, he's lost his machete and his berries. Come on. And he's on Channel 9 News.
His machete, his berries, and his dignity.
That's right. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. That's all I have. Pastor, thank you so much. I thought you might enjoy some levity this week.
This was indeed enjoyable.
Folks, if you have any comments or any questions, any thoughts about anything you heard here today, if you have any suggestions for a future episode, please visit our feedback page at armedlutheran.us/feedback. Leave us a message, a voicemail, or a voice message, or an email. We would love to hear from you and respond in a future episode. Next week, I don't know what's going on next week. I'm not going to predict. It's going to be fun, whatever it is, and I hope you will join us. Until next time, keep shooting, keep praying. We'll talk to you next time.
John Bennett is the pastor at St. John's Lutheran Church in Willow Creek, Minnesota. For more information, visit stjohnswillowcreek.org. For show notes, be sure to visit our website at www.armedlutheran.us. Check out the Facebook page, The Armed Lutheran, or join our Facebook group, Fans of Armed Lutheran Radio. If you like what you hear, please leave us a comment on our feedback page at armedlutheran.us/feedback or a review on iTunes and let us know what you think. Thank you for listening to Armed Lutheran Radio, a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.